Hello everyone, the one called Fate knocks at your door. I'm back with another Tabletop recap. I'm your host Hunt with Karen, the Manager Slayer.
Hello.
And Kami, our Lord and Savior.
Hi guys.
Swag. Okay, so today's episode was kind of their brainchild. So what are we doing today, guys?
Just a little bit of a breakdown on what goes into GMing and that whole process, but then also how it is for players, and just kind of a little breakdown on the various kind of roles and how it all fits together. I don't know if that was a decent enough description or not.
Yeah, so basically just what it takes to be a good DM and what we like in a DM.
Yeah.
Dungeon Master, Game Master, whichever. Let's see who goes first. Let's roll for initiative, everyone.
Oh, that's right. My cat.
Oh yeah, the cat knocked yours away. You can just roll mine. I rolled a 7.
I rolled a 20.
Oh wow.
I rolled a 5.
Well,
Wow.
I guess you're going first yet again.
I'm sorry. I can yield if that'll make you
No.
happy. Okay.
I don't want to go first because I don't. This one's more you guys than me.
Oh, don't worry. I'm going to ask you plenty of questions about when you GM.
Okay.
Because that's what I do.
One day maybe.
I think you'd be good at it.
I think I'd be good at most of it. Yeah.
I guess I should start with my kind of GMing style, which I'm not going to lie. I am not big into the D&D rules. I like to let rules be guidelines, rather, and I like to reward players for good role play and smart combat, I guess. Like creativity, all that good stuff. No, if you make sense, I'll probably, end up letting you get away with most stuff. And also, I like to start my players with high levels because I want to throw big stuff at them. That's kind of me.
Well, and I can attest a little bit more to your GMing style since you've been my GM a lot, but you're willing to let anybody try anything.
Oh, yeah.
Your response is usually roll and see what happens.
Yeah. I've had a couple of times where my GM at periods would be like, no, you can't do that. I'm like, well, what if I try? They're like, no, you can't do that. And it's like, I don't like to say no in D&D. If fate wants to, stand outside someone's door and scream in, the one called fate knocks at your door.
Best meme.
I will let you roll on that. I think anything can happen in D&D, and that's kind of why it's great. So,
your GMing style has also evolved a lot when it comes to crit fails and crit successes.
Oh, I used to be really bad. If someone rolled a 1, I would basically doom their character.
Oh.
I used to be really rough about it, but
crippled for life at best.
Yeah, pretty much.
I lost an arm on a failed attack once.
Wow.
But
you did that to your own husband?
Yes.
We were only dating at the time.
Yeah, see? It was...
it's fine. I could be mean to him. We were just dating.
But, I think I've definitely eased off the gas a little bit with those, because I used to be like, oh, you lose an arm. Oh, your weapon breaks. You got to go buy a new one, and you have no money, so good luck. And that's how my GM was originally. Like, oh, if you roll a 1, looks like you're dead, so... I have a 3-time rule now. If you roll 3 ones, then something bad happens. So, yeah.
My GM style is very much kind of modeled after what I've seen you do, Karen, but also the things that I did not enjoy about what you did to me early on.
Yay!
I like I also do like the rules a little bit more than you do, partly because, as I mentioned in a previous podcast, I spent a lot of time reading the rules when I was younger, so I've got a lot of the rules crammed into my head, and I can't really get away from that.
Yeah.
But I like to think I'm willing to let you do whatever you say to do. I'm having to learn to get a little bit hands-off at the moment. I've spent most of my time as a player, not as a GM, and especially in the last couple of sessions with Big Boy.
Big Boy Chungus. He's not here today because he's still dead from the coronavirus.
Why does that make me laugh?
Because you're just thinking about Big Boy Chungus dead, and then you're happy all of a sudden. I think that's a little offensive, actually.
That's not true.
Karen, I'd like to speak to your manager. But I'm having a hard time getting hands off or going, are you sure you want to do that? I feel like I say that a fair amount during our sessions, and I think I
think you might have towards the beginning, but I don't think you did last time.
I'm trying to get it more hands off. I was very consciously trying to do that and to let y'all dig your own graves if that's what you so choose to do.
That's already done, man. The graves are dug. We just gotta get in them. I'm serious. Like, I really want this character to live because I really want to meet his family, but I'm not even sure it's gonna happen at this point.
You know,
ooh la la.
I guess we'll see. Fate has the lowest chance of making it out alive.
Well, Fate doesn't even have HP. He doesn't even have a starting HP. I feel bad making fun of his character when he's not here, but he knows what we think. It's nothing we haven't said to his face.
I mean, that's kind of true.
This is actually nicer than we are when he's in person.
We love him, though. We love you, Big Boy Chungus.
We do. He's going to listen to this and hate us.
Yeah, probably.
It's okay. I'll give him a little kissy later. He'll forgive us.
Kiss and make up.
He's going to hate me for saying that.
The amazing thing, though, is that I have watched, and I'm commenting about Karen's play style, or GM style, I should say, but Karen spends so much time planning D&D sessions. You probably spend 8 hours of planning for 1 hour of playtime, effectively.
That's the theater kid in me.
You have multiple books of just notes of campaigns, character ideas, NPCs, and stuff like that I've seen you just doodle in and jot stuff down all the time.
Well, it's not even necessarily... That's the thing, is like, I do write a lot of notes, but it's like, if I come up with an idea that I'm like, oh, this will be interesting to encounter, or if I think of an interesting encounter, I'll just write it down. I like to have a lot to draw from, I guess, but it usually doesn't ever work out where I use all of those notes, because usually players will always go the exact opposite direction you think they're gonna go.
You're learning that now, huh, Kami?
Oh, I certainly am.
I mean,
it's ironic because as a player, I'm frequently the one who turns right when you expect me to turn left.
Yeah.
Every time. But that's some stories for another day where he completely ruined one of my campaigns.
Ruined or enhanced?
Yes.
Yes.
At the same time. No, but I think that's the biggest challenge, but also the biggest thrill of GMing is improv.
The improv is definitely something I'm having to get used to, and it's why it's, at least for the first few sessions, I think we went a lot shorter because I was exhausted. I feel like we broke it up as we were playing, where I would stop and like go get something to eat or go get something to drink. Or
yeah, we ate a lot of cheese and crackers that first night.
Yeah, partly just so I could like
mostly me
take a 3-minute break to recuperate, because the improv and the being on your toes the entire time is actually really exhausting.
Especially when you planned for us to go in one secret office immediately and then we completely bypassed it.
We don't talk about that.
We all do all the time.
He wanted us to go right. We went left.
You went straight down. But yeah,
worst party ever.
The improv is definitely the hardest part about being a GM. Because I planned this theocratic city-state D&D for years, actually. I came up with this when I was still in college. And that's actually, I graduated college 4 years ago.
Yeah, don't rub it in, bud.
Dude,
I'm still in school.
That's just me feeling old.
Don't rub it in.
Apologies. Not my intent.
I want to be free.
I want you to be free too, man.
I want to be free.
Free to play D&D as much as you want.
Free D's nuts, I got him.
Why?
But with all these years of planning, I still was not prepared for what you guys have done. The amount of improv is insane, and you will never know.
Because we've messed up so much. Probably. I'm guessing the way we make you roll your eyes at some of the decisions we make.
He doesn't roll his eyes. He has this thing where he blinks really hard and he puts his head down and he exhales. He's like, this is what it is. You can't see me doing it if you're listening, but trust me, I feel like you can feel the energy. It's
yeah, his very slow, like, resigned himself blink and head drop. It's just sad.
Liam!
And I'm lucky where this is all in a contained city where you literally can't go anywhere except for the city I've created. If this was an completely open world, I don't know what I would have done with myself for this first couple of sessions.
Yeah. You're trapping us with smart. Or not. It got a lot of people killed. But...
Yeah.
Well...
very likely got a lot of people killed. The rolls haven't been done on that. But...
They have been done. You just don't know what the results were.
I just don't know what the results are.
It's like the child thing when Fate blew up the city block. We don't know until after.
That's not canon anymore. Even though I'll always remember that spell as the child killing spell. Every time he describes it, I don't know what spell he's talking about until someone says the child killing spell. And then I'm like, oh, the lightning AoE. Got it.
I mean,
the one that burns down cities.
It's a good way of learning your spells, is having something to connect them to.
Yeah, like a dead child or a collapsed bell tower full of priests.
Can we talk about how his character's a folk hero, yet he seems to have absolutely no problem with collateral damage?
Oh, it's great. But back to the dungeon and mastering, disastering.
Yeah, so I got a question here for Hunt.
That's me.
Yes.
Don't laugh, okay? Come on, give me the question.
So, what do you think would be the biggest challenge of GMing? Like
Math.
if you
Doing basic math. I'm dead serious because I've taken improv classes. Published writer. I don't think I'd have any trouble actually writing a campaign.
No, not at all.
I think I would just have trouble with math and keeping up with math and doing math and math.
There's a lot of math involved.
Are you good?
I don't like math. I can't do long division.
I don't think you have to for D&D.
You don't even have to in real life, but people get upset when I reveal that fact. I was never taught. I was just straight up not taught long division because our little rural school system sucks.
And my teachers always told me, you're not going to have a calculator every single day. And then the phones happened.
Guess what, you old hag?
You were wrong.
I have multiple calculators on my person every single day. Hag!
Are you good?
I'm upset.
You'll be glad to know that most of the math is very basic addition and subtraction.
Yeah. I just feel like it's a lot to keep up with, and until I can get back on an ADD pill, it's probably not for me. I'd be happy to write some and let you guys run them, though.
What kind of D&D would you write?
I have a whole list of ideas. I have this one about a feral ice giant.
Ooh.
That's like eating crops, and the villagers want it gone, and you have to decide what to do with it. I got one that's basically that episode of Rick and Morty with the Jelly Bean King and the Giants.
Oh my
gosh. I was just
gosh.
gonna make that a D&D.
Do it. What else?
Jelly bean.
Yeah, what else?
Show me what you got.
It's on my phone. Where's my phone? Oh God. Okay. I have a whole list of delicious little stories for all of you.
You sure?
Yeah, as soon as I can figure out what I did with them.
See, knowing you and the things you enjoy, I almost expect there to be a lot of sci-fi stories there, too.
Yeah.
Well, here it is. The Feral Frost Giant was kind of a kaiju thing for me, almost.
Mm-hmm.
There was one called Tattle Fantasy that's based on Kamen Rider.
Ooh, excellent.
Yeah, it's based on Kamen Rider Wizard, where you have to get these rings. I haven't flushed that one out. And then just one where we meet Gattaca Moneyhaver's dad, because I really want to meet his dad.
I've got something for that.
Oh, good.
Actually.
Good.
Yeah,
if you need help
if we
fleshing out his
survive.
dad's character, let me know.
I definitely will need that at some point. Daddy's not going to show up yet, because I imagine Daddy doesn't leave the mansion except to go make money.
Yeah. I like how we're just calling him Daddy, like that's not weird at all.
Nah.
I don't even know his name. Daddy McMoneyhaver.
Something McMoneyhaver, yeah.
Oh my gosh. So, hardest GMing moment for you, Kami. Go.
The hardest GMing moment?
Yes.
Probably dealing with Big Boy Chungus.
Maybe.
I love Big Boy Chungus.
I do too, and we do mess with him a lot.
But it's out of love. It's out of respect.
And making
Well,
him
not
a
much
better player.
respect.
Oh,
It's for his own good.
love him. But seriously though, hardest moment that you've come up against so far.
Hardest moment was probably that first session where he didn't share information, and it was all I could do not to scream, because one of my least favorite things when I'm a player is when you have a player in the party that's not cooperating. And I understand the need to play true to a character, but at the end of the day, it's also a game, and it's supposed to be a collaborative team effort. And so...
Because Karen and I heard you tell him about the door, but we couldn't ask him about it because that would be metagaming.
Exactly. And I really appreciate the way you guys don't metagame.
We did grunt, though. When we want to... You can tell when we want to metagame because we go...
It's this low unhappy grumble.
We grunt like Marge Simpson. That's going to be my new character's catchphrase. It's just going to be Marge Simpson grunt.
Oh my gosh. You know, that's actually kind of something funny that we started doing, was every time Big Boy Chungus decides to make it, like, a decision, we both look at each other and make this, like, eye contact that's like, oh no, or like...
Like when he was going to do that explosion when we were in the sewer, and we both looked at each other and we could read the word methane in each other's eyes.
Yes.
Because I was like, that's totally something Kami would do, is have the whole thing just explode.
The funny thing is, I didn't actually think of that until you said something out loud, and I was like, oh, that's a great idea. Somebody light a match.
Oh my gosh.
Because I would totally think of that. I would have just incinerated the whole party. Actually, you were probably far away enough to avoid a lot of it, but... Because you were on a different floor. Because you went up to get the scones. I would have been incinerated. I would have been Freddy Krueger, straight up. Burnt and dead.
See, I think that's why you would be a good GM, though, is because you think of, like, explosion methane.
Or lizard lips.
Well, yeah, because we were making my character today, and I'm playing as a lizard folk urban bounty hunter. And they were like, oh, you could get a blowgun. And I was like, no, I can't. My lizard guy doesn't have any lips. I couldn't form a seal around it. And all this stuff about lips.
But just the attention to detail is fantastic.
Like, the lips came up multiple times. I was like, oh, my character can't do that. He doesn't have lips. That came up multiple times.
Or his accent, how he was going to talk. Well, he doesn't have lips, so...
That's the only sound I can make when I pull my lips back, so...
Oh gosh, I told him if he did that noise too much, though, I was going to kill his character just straight up.
But I'm in school for a science degree, so I think about that stuff a lot.
See, that'd be another really good reason you'd be a good GM, I think. Because you would be able to, like, apply... Because, you know, fantasy world's great and all, but, like, when there's science to back some of the crazier stuff, I think that makes it a little better.
Yeah, because Kami's big on putting the science and history and stuff in the campaigns, which I really like, by the way, because that's exactly how I would do it.
Thank you.
And I really like how there's, like, definite consequences for things people do. Like, environmental consequences, because lots of people just don't think about that.
Yeah. And, I mean, kind of speaking to Kami's GMing, I think that's one thing that I really enjoy is, like, the historical aspect and, like, the real consequence of, like, you've just burned down a forest. This is how this is important.
Just obliterated a city block with a lightning AoE.
Yeah, it's...
There's a dead child now. You're lucky there was only one.
And, like, historically, this is how this would have worked, and that's what it's based on, so it makes sense. I think that's a positive in his GMing ability and skill.
Well, it's also a lazy aspect of my GMing, because if somebody's already come up with how this historical, like, theocratic setup would work, why should I reinvent the wheel?
Yeah.
If I know that it exists, why not just copy it?
I mean, the Vatican's pretty rich. If I could be as rich as the Vatican.
The single largest collection of priceless art and artifacts in the world. What?
God, I want that Vatican money.
Oh my gosh.
So, what are your guys... Like, what do you look for in a DM when you're a player?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
That's a really good question, yeah. I don't know, actually. That's kind of... I have to think on that one.
I haven't had a whole lot of options when it comes to my GM, so I've not really been able to be picky. I kind of take whatever I can get so I can play some D&D.
Yeah, but what do you look for? Like, what's your preferred? Your optimum?
I'm a little bit like you. I want somebody to think through the environment around me. I think I kind of GM the way I want somebody to GM. Does that make sense?
Of course. That seems probably most people would do.
I
Or they would just do it the way they found easiest because they're lazy.
Well, I do a little bit of both. I want somebody to think through the consequences, and I want the world to feel like it's functioning around me. You know, that I'm actually part of something, but not the sole focus. And if I don't do something, I want there to be consequences, and if I do something, I completely ignore the murderer that's running through this town. Well, in 2 weeks, there's not a town. Congratulations, you did not save the town, and now the murderer's after you, because you're the next one on the list.
Because you're all that's left.
Yeah. I mean, or there's a huge army invading to the north, and the king is sending out a call for adventures. Well, our party didn't show up. We decided to go invade a mine and make some money, and guess what? The army has overrun the kingdom, and now we're on the run. You know, just I want there to be real-world consequences and thought put into it.
I guess the thing because I was thinking about it, I was thinking of all my GMs that I've had, and I just want a GM to be excited. You know, like, I don't want, running through this is how this goes, this is how this works and stuff. I want someone to be excited and animated and let you really invest yourself in the world.
They can't start a quest in a tavern.
And they can't start a quest in a tavern. That's just so overplayed. I really can't stand that. But I want my GM to be excited about the world, not just like, well, this is what it is. This is it. Here it is. It's like, I want them to be excited. I want them to really get into it, be animated, have some thought put into it where they're like, oh, I've put a lot of thought into this one town where it's got a lot of character, a lot of characters, a lot of stuff to do, and I really like that, because I've had some GMs where it's just like, you kind of feel like they're going through the motions, okay, roll this, okay, this is this enemy's, stuff, its stats, its health, blah, blah, blah. I like when it's like, it feels unique, it feels like someone actually cares, because, I care about my play style and stuff, so...
I've played with your original GM once before, and that seems very like him. That was like a pivotal thing for you, was your original GM, who is animated as all get out. Every time it's time for an NPC to do something, he's out of his seat, gesticulating, hopping up in the chair. I've seen him hop on the counter to, act like the kobolds that were attacking us. I mean, he is animated as all get out and excited. It really is engaging.
Yeah, and then some GMs I've had where it's just like, I get it. It's an open world, or it's got this particular story or whatever, but I never feel like they're truly like, I've thought everything through, and I care about the people that I've made in this story, and I care about this story as a whole. It's just kind of like, okay, but why should I care? Yeah. And I think my old GM definitely, had some bad days, had some good days, just like every GM, where sometimes you just don't have a good day. And those are not as fun. So I want to be able to have fun as a player because my GM wants me to have fun, wants to get involved. So, you good there, Hunt?
I'm a little Yanni boy.
Ooh, you haven't had enough coffee.
I haven't had any coffee ever in my life.
Because you're crazy.
I know what you were going to call me for a second. You didn't want to because it's recording. And thank you for that.
I'll tell you, one other thing I look for in a GM on a completely bringing it back to the topic note was something that Karen has done multiple times, which is taking criticism. If a GM can adapt their style to fit the party, that's also kind of important as well, because it's a collaborative game.
Yeah.
And Karen used to punish the crud out of parties for crit fails.
We talked about that.
In an unfair way.
Yeah, we talked about that. I don't want to talk about it.
And you adapted, and you stopped doing that. But just,
Yeah, I mean, you should be punished for a crit fail, but maybe not, permanently crippled.
I let him get the hand back. He just had to get it sewn back on. That's all.
It was a long quest to get my hand sewn back on.
You just had...
For one crit fail.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
But I think that's why, because we always ask each other after, campaigns or sessions, hey, what kind of feedback do you have for me? And I think it's helped us both as GMs, personally.
Oh, certainly.
And I'm sure the audience has picked up on this, but we're kind of specifically talking about DMs that do homebrews. because that's all you guys do. You only run homebrews.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I've played pre-mades before, and I've got my own opinions about those, but, you know.
Well, we're gonna play a pre-made maybe like next year.
Yeah, which
with Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Yeah, which is fine and all, but like the pre-mades that I have played, you know, like I don't know, they're very different. I feel like than homebrews. I know they shouldn't technically be, but that's besides the point.
Wizard approved. Well, we're also gonna play the Rick and Morty one at some point just because I want to.
Of course.
You need to run that one. I think you'd be really good.
You know what? Maybe I will run it.
That'd be a good one to start with.
Maybe I will. You know.
I hope so. Now, and I'll ask on recording as well, put you guys on the spot if there's any critique to give me on how things have been in the Theocracy. I know Hunt earlier mentioned maybe starting at level 5 for a returning player and a new player was a mistake, and I think he's right.
If we were all veterans who'd played 5e and stuff, I would have been like, sure, fine, I don't care. It might have even been a good thing to do. But with one person who's never played and one person who never played 5e and hadn't played in a decade at all, maybe it was a little much.
I think so.
But that's literally the only complaint I had. But for my ideal DM, I want someone neutral, someone who's not targeting anybody as a group or an individual.
Oh, amen.
I also want someone who does voices for the NPCs and has really creative NPCs. Like the NPCs, they put as much thought into as they would their own character.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, just really, because we talked about that NPC friend I had in a previous episode, Jim the Wizard, with his hat of holding and his torch.
I want him.
Yeah, you would have loved him. He was grand. But that's what I want. Just really creative NPCs, neutral, and I do like the kind of realistic science almost, just to kind of keep you on your toes and thinking. Like, it just kind of makes you think in the same way you would think in the real world. I want to be made to think in the same way I would in the real world. I want to have the same survival instinct in D&D that I do in the real world, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I want to work on the voices. Because that's something I have...
I mean, obviously that's like the lowest thing.
Well,
like, it's obviously something that's not necessary, it's just fun.
But I think I've played with GMs who did the voices a lot, and you're right, it is a lot more engaging, and it feels like there's a little bit more personality. I'm always trying to add whatever the next little thing is to the GMing.
The only problem is all the voices you can do are only racist accents.
Well, of course. I mean,
I'm just kidding, obviously.
The other thing is that y'all haven't talked to anybody in this entire thing except for the one guy.
We really haven't.
You did a voice for that one guy. We've talked to like Craft,
That's...
2 clerics, a wizard.
One of them had a really squeaky voice.
Yeah, we talked. I'm not even going to count all the people we talked to in session 2 because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
We barely talked to them. Yeah. Actually, you were really good about accents in the World War I D&D. You got the Russian accent, and you did a couple of others. I can't really remember all of the accents.
French, German, Russian.
Yeah. Mostly the Russian one, though.
Yeah. Y'all were dealing mostly with the Russian army, so it made sense.
Yeah.
That's a different D&D for a different day.
Yeah.
I was gonna say on the player side of things, when you guys are, we just built Hunt a character today for the next campaign that we'll be running. But
yeah, Kabuto D-End.
That's his name?
Kabuto D-End, yeah. I told you that last Sunday.
I don't even remember you mentioning that.
Kabuto D-End. Both names taken from Common Riders.
Is it the one of Pokemon?
Kabuto is a type of beetle in real life.
You would know that.
Yeah, I would know that. Kabuto D-End, the Oathbreaker Paladin Lizard Boy.
This is going to be awesome.
He's really strong.
I'm so excited.
So, when you guys are building a character, what actually does get you excited? I know the lizard folk thing started to really get you engaged in the whole character making process.
It fits so perfect with the urban bounty hunter I wanted to do. Because my lizard dude is basically a copy and paste character from the Star Wars role-playing game that I used to play back in the Disney, because I never got to use that character much, and I really liked it, and I was really good with him. I should just do an episode talking about all his incredible feats of strength.
That would be
Because
awesome.
he had feats of strength equivalent to your character kicking in the magically sealed door, like on a regular basis.
I love that.
Storytime part 2.
Oh, please. That would be awesome. I think, I'm not going to lie. The lizard folk reminded me of, like, when I found playing as a dryad was an option, playing as a nymph. I love the crazy races, even though I always pick human because, nymph and dryad aren't races that you can typically pick. So I always just pick human. I always pick fighter. But
Just get it out of the way. Human, whatever.
yeah, human and whatever the team needs me to be so I can carry them.
It's easy to roleplay as a human. I think I'll find role-playing as a lizard pretty easy, too. Because I'm also cold and emotionless from years of repression.
Aww. I also like playing as a drow, though. I love playing as a drow. That's not my new go-to for most of my sessions recently, I feel like.
I recently discovered my love for playing halflings.
Oh, halflings.
They're awesome. They can't fail anything. It's beautiful. Halflings have the lucky feat where if they roll a 1, they get to re-roll that roll.
I think towards maybe like level 10 or something for rogues, 9 or 10, like the lowest thing you can roll for certain things is like a 9.
Jeez.
That sounds about right.
Because I was looking at
like
rogue stuff, because you guys
stealth
told me I
checks.
needed to learn my rogue stuff better. And I was like, whoa!
I do like that, though, that, like, you do get progressively stronger.
Yeah, that's almost as if that's what leveling up is for.
Yeah, but not just like, oh, I can hit harder, oh, I can dodge better. It's like, I get this crazy skill where I can't roll below a 9. It just, I don't know, it feels better.
Yeah.
There's a lot of creative stuff. Go figure.
Yeah, it turns out you have to be creative to roleplay. Who knew?
Yeah, the more creative you are, the better you're going to be at your character. That's just how it is.
Flocka. Lahayim.
Now, have you guys ever played with characters that you just like dreaded? You were going to the session, you were like, crud, this character's going to be obnoxious again.
I've literally only played with 2 characters.
Well, not your character, but somebody else in your party. Like, you were driving to the session, you were like, I really want to play D&D, but I am not looking forward to having to deal with XYZ character.
Probably in high school. There were probably a couple people in high school, but I couldn't give any really specific examples. Because remember, there's that one guy that always died because he would cheat, so the DM would kill him off.
Right.
He wouldn't play any of his characters differently. He would just all kind of play them as strong and kind of overcompensating for his insecurities. Poor guy. He's not a bad guy. He just doesn't know how to play games.
Not a bad guy, just a bad player.
Yeah. Yeah, I've definitely had that.
But I look forward to playing with you guys, because your guy's crazy, Karen. Oliver's crazy, and Fate's just funny. Just funny.
Yeah.
Fate is the living meme.
I will say, I do like playing with Gaddock McMoneyhaver, because he's kind of great. Just everything he does, and it's like...
He's a jerk, but you feel for him.
Yeah, I do. And he's smart. And competent.
He's a survivor.
I've made some pretty good plans in the past couple sessions. Like, most of the plans have been mine.
That is true.
Yeah, I just...
He's a good plan. He's a real planner type.
I like that. I don't like the players who are like, I'm just
gonna hit
care. Yeah.
Let's just murder everybody and leave.
That, or the ones that's like, I don't care what we do. I'm chaotic neutral. And it's like, it doesn't mean you don't care about what's going on. It just means you're...
It's just kind of... It's more motivation is the chaotic neutral. Like,
Or
more the things that you're allowed to do. You know what
your
I mean?
moral compass.
So
Yeah.
people are like, well, I'm not a good or evil character. I'm a neutral character, so that means I don't care. And it's like, no, that's not what that means.
That means you only care about yourself.
Yeah, my character's... My lizard boy is super neutral, but he cares about that coin. He cares about that coin.
He's gonna
He cares about that coin. He cares about that coin.
Is that gonna be
He
the
cares
song?
about that coin.
Oh my God.
He cares about that coin.
Well, McMoneyhaver is basically
He also
neutral.
cares about that coin.
He's kind of chaotic neutral.
He's very
He just
chaotic neutral.
Doesn't care about the rules, only cares about himself.
Yeah. But he, could care about other people.
Yeah. Neutral
Like,
doesn't say you can.
You'll notice he didn't say demon last game. He didn't call Fate demon once, and that was intentional.
He might in this coming session
Yeah.
after attacking a church.
Because Fate was listening to him and cooperating the whole last session, so he didn't call him demon.
It's true. Save the derogatory terms for when he's being obnoxious.
Because he was like, Fate, cover those guys. And then Big Boy Chungus immediately did it. And, and he was listening to him, and he was doing what he was supposed to do.
I think there was some excellent teamwork last session.
I think so, too. I think we communicated better than usual.
Because you grappled the one guy, I stopped the wizard by, like, choking him out, is how everyone explained it, and then Fate was just like, I'm gonna electrocute everyone in this room if anyone moves.
Yeah, not to toot my own nips, but I think I've got some pretty creative uses for stuff, like how I did the Ray of Frost on the ground.
Oh, that was brilliant.
And I used my grapple gun to tie up Craft. Yeah.
That was a really creative...
That's just because I'm not a combat guy. I'm a roleplay guy. So I think of stuff in a roleplay sense, not a technical sense.
I feel like the more you play, the more likely you are to be a role player instead of a combat guy.
Yeah.
Because after a while, the combat just kind of blends into sameness. I do the attack when it's my turn, and then it's the next
basic
person.
Math.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to roll some dice and see if I kill the thing. I didn't kill the thing. All right, your turn. It just kind of... I don't know. It gets boring after a while.
Well, that's a sign of a good GM is when they can make combat as interesting as the roleplay. You know what I mean?
Bringing it back to the
You're right there?
I think
I'm dead. I have coronavirus.
Oh, well, there we go. Bye, guys. This will be the last one. We're all gonna die.
We're dead already.
We'll see you soon, Big Chungus.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
oh
dead.
my gosh, bringing it back. But when a GM can make combat as interesting as roleplay, I think that's really good. Because, like, I'm trying to think of a specific example, but, I can only ever... Go ahead.
Up with your original GM, there was a dragon encounter. It was like a small baby dragon, and somebody ended up, like, riding on the wing, trying to bring it down out of the sky.
Oh, yeah, used a rod of holding to rip the wing off.
Yeah, I mean, like, there was some really interesting combat options in some of the things he's come up with.
Oh, yeah.
I actually have a question about your campaign that we're currently running, Kami.
Hit me.
No.
When we kind of interrogated Kraft in that wizard and stuff, how much of that was improv? How much of that did you make up on the spot?
I was not all of it. I was not expecting you to wait till Kraft showed up. I thought when somebody's like, "Go get Kraft," I thought you were gonna murk the one guy that got left behind and deuce out. That was entirely what I expected. So when y'all were like, "If we wait, maybe we'll get somebody big," I was like, "Oh crud!"
Now I gotta do stuff.
Oh crud! Now I have to improv this whole character and everything. I didn't expect you guys to hide like the way you did. This whole thing has been since session 1. It's been mostly improv, and I've built enough of the world that I have things to pull from and characters to pull, like the named sorcerers and things like that.
So did you make up the burning seals just so we wouldn't get anything, or?
No, that was set up.
That was already set up.
Yes.
That seemed set up, but a lot of that situation seemed improv. So I just wanted to know what was set up and what wasn't.
They are set up, and depending on how you guys play the last session, which has yet to be run and will be run this coming weekend.
Oh Lord. I'm dreading it.
It'll probably be the last session. And I don't know if you guys will ever get all the answers that were laced through the whole thing. So maybe one day I'll just brag about all the things I came up with, because I'm really proud of
That's fine.
Things.
You can brag about it on the podcast.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll save that for later.
Yeah, because one day I would like to know who murdered the Archbishop for sure. But until then, I'm just running for my life.
We all know who really killed the Archbishop, though.
It was fate all along.
Dun, dun, dun.
That would actually
They planned it from the beginning.
That would be kind of cool, though.
That would be so screwed up.
No, oh gosh.
Go ahead.
He wants to talk.
I do.
Can't.
I want to talk so badly. Next week. Next week we can have this conversation.
We
Right.
should totally include that in, like, the last podcast for the session is, like, all of the like the stuff you expected us to do, the stuff you didn't expect us to do.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. We should definitely do that.
That'd be a good podcast.
Almost like an epilogue episode.
Yeah.
And we could do that. I know you would have plenty to tell us about, like, you missed this and this and this and why.
And you're idiots. Why didn't you do that?
Why didn't you open up the stupid study
on the first session?
Why did you run past the study when you knew somebody was in there?
We could be done by now.
We're on session 5, and it was intended to be a 3-session one.
I think we ran past the person in the office because someone was in there.
I wanted to see who it was so bad. I was like, oh, this is it. And then you guys are like, no.
Well, we may never know.
He's probably dead.
We might see their corpse at some point.
That's called... No, he's 2-dimensional now.
Oh, you did roll for it? He did?
That's not actually the canon answer. You guys will find out later what happened.
Yeah, because last time you said you'd roll it would be decided by a d20 roll at the beginning.
It was decided when he brought the bell down.
You just went ahead and rolled for it?
Yeah. Secrets.
Nice. Can't wait to find out. I'm really excited. So definitely subscribe to our podcast and tune in for D&D Campaign Part 4.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's going to be Gucci Gang.
I'm excited.
Mm-hmm.
That might be the next episode after this one, unless we film another story time. Or record another story time before that. We might record another story time before that today, if we feel like it.
Yeah, it's up to you.
We're already quarantined and trapped in the house, so...
Yeah.
We're basement dwellers that are recording the podcast during the COVID.
Yeah. But stay safe, everyone, for sure. Are we done?
That's up to you.
That seems like it to me. I
think we covered a lot of stuff with GMing and playing and everything.
I love talking about GMing. I prefer it over playing, I will admit. I
can tell that. I can actually tell.
But I mean, being forced to play the human fighter for so long, which we will talk about because I think Kami wants to have an intervention with me about my PTSD with playing the human fighter all the time.
Yeah. We'll do that, and we'll start the next Storytime episode off with that. How's that sound?
Whatever you want to do, yo. You're the MC.
PTSD&D. That's what we'll call it. PTSD&D.
I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
Pretty much.
Okay, so that's it, everyone. Thank you all very much for your support. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Check out all the cool links in the description below. Yeah. We got Facebook for the podcasts, for the whole podcast network, because there's actually 3 separate podcasts. A Tokusatsu, Kaiju, audio drama, and a horror anthology as well. Toku King and In the Fog, respectively. There's also Twitter, @B3 Productions. And there's also our Patreon and merch as well, down in the links in the description. So that's it. This is Hunt, Karen, and Kami signing off. See you next time when the one called Fate knocks at your door.